Welcome back to the Messier, the Better podcast. Rebecca Mueller, licensed marriage and family therapist. So glad you're joining me today. I am going to look at shame again. You're wondering, does she talk about anything else? And I wish I could right now, but I can't because it's what's on the brain. So I wanted to move us through, since we've talked in the past 3 podcasts about what shame is and what shame can do to our current lives and how it kind of erodes our identity and how we show up. And I want to take us into rewiring that shame narrative into a narrative of empowerment, strength, and resilience. Those are our keys: empowerment, strength, and resilience. Now, empowerment, strength, and resilience doesn't mean I'm going to be happy. It doesn't mean I am absolutely going to make all my life's problems go away. But what it does when I get rid of this shame narrative is I actually believe, no matter what I'm facing, that I can get through it, empowering myself, finding the internal strength to do it, and becoming resilient, not only in the moment, but for my future. Those 3 components of empowerment, strength, and resilience are your ticket out of the shame station. Let me say it again. Empowerment, strength, and resilience is your way out of this really dark hole that you have put yourself in, and you believe wholeheartedly that you are not good enough. And I am here, if nobody's told you today, if nobody's told you last week, last month, the past year, let alone your whole life, you are good. You are worthy of rewiring the way you see yourself, because the life that awaits you is phenomenal. It's phenomenal because it's going to be you and all you. It's going to be chosen by you. It's going to be lived by you. You are going to show up as you, free from the shame narrative that's hesitant, that doesn't believe, that is really internally weak. And I want to say, I'm so excited to go through this with you, because this is where change happens. Our change is not about the external things that we can change in our lives. Our change is actually internal. And when we change internally, then I can change the things on the outside that are external. Change happens first. True change happens first inside, and then it gets translated to the outside. So here we go. When we're talking about the shame narrative, the opposite of shame will be, am I proud of myself? And am I honoring myself? So a lot of times with my clients in sessions, I will notice different pieces of growth that are happening in their lives. It may be about how they perceive things. It may be about decisions or behaviors or ways that they are navigating relationships or situations that really starts honoring them as human beings and as individuals. And I will say something like, I am so proud of you. Did you notice this? And they may take it at first, if the shame narrative is really strong, as you say that to everybody. You don't really mean it. You have to say it. I'm paying you to say it. Yes, that also comes up. And I'm like, I don't have to say anything. I can just sit here and write on my clipboard. I don't have to notice these things out loud. But when I see growth as a therapist and as a human being, I'm mind blown, because I know what it takes for humans to grow. It takes so much for us to change, and no change is too little or great to be noticed. So I will say to them, I'm so proud of you that you da 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 da. And at first, they may dismiss it. But as we do the work, the next phase is they start to receive it. The next phase after that is they'll show up in session and they'll say, I did this thing and I wanted to share it because you would be so proud of me. So now I know there's this transference of me suggesting that they should be proud of themselves for what they're doing and choosing to show up in their lives. And now all of a sudden they're coming back to me saying, you would be so proud. And I affirm that. Absolutely. This is incredible. I am so proud. But this is not about pleasing me, and it's not about making me proud, because here's the next phase. The next phase is when a client shows up and they say, I'm so proud of me. Then I know the baton has been passed from me presenting to my client this new idea that you're allowed to be proud of yourself. And as I pass this baton, for them to eventually be able to do what I do for them in the beginning, that they dismiss. And all of a sudden they take this baton and they're able to do it for themselves. You see, being proud of yourself is not arrogance. Being proud of yourself creates confidence. Let me say that again. Being proud of yourself is not arrogant, but being proud of yourself creates confidence. Confidence is a byproduct of the empowerment, strength, and resilience that we are after as we grow. And so when you are working with other people, maybe you have employees, maybe you have children, maybe you have family members, a partner, and you say, I'm so mind blown. It is so cool to watch you. I'm so proud of you when you do this. And you notice those growth pieces, you are pouring in goodness around that seed of great behavior. And you will encourage them to do so. As that you encourage from the external, now you are giving them the ability to empower, strengthen, and become resilient in their own lives. It's incredible. It's something that feeds its own self, and we're creating synergy in a really great way. So that shame doesn't say I'm proud of me. That shame says I'm actually not proud of me. And so we're going to take that narrative and we're going to really challenge it. So today, as you are listening, I want you just to put this on pause if you can. If you're in some place where you can pause me, please. I would love for you just to sit in either in your phone or on a piece of paper. I would like you to write down things that you are proud of yourself for. Go ahead. Pause me. Try it out. Okay, now that we're unpaused, welcome back. And I want you to look at that list real quick. And I want you to put an I next to the things that are internal. And I want you to put an E next to the things that you're proud of that are external. And so the internal are more what's happening inside and what I notice about myself. The E is how that shows up in my external life. So I'm really proud of myself for having that difficult conversation. I'm really proud of myself for saying no to something that I felt pressured to say yes. I'm really proud of myself for choosing to take a nap and not have to do. I'm really proud of myself for saying yes to something that scared me. Those are external things. That's choices that we're making on the outside. But the internal is I'm really proud that I listened to myself. I'm really proud of myself for looking in the mirror and noticing the things I appreciate about me. I'm really proud that I was able to sit in gratitude, that I was able to be still and allow myself to soak in the goodness of my environment, whatever that may be. It's external and it's also internal, and it's internal and it's external. They go together, synergy, that they go together. One feeds the other. The more internal work you do, the more it's going to show up externally. The more it shows up externally, the more it's going to wrap back around. And you're actually going to create this strength cycle that goes up and up and up. And that is what synergy is. Creating its own energy within the cycle of goodness. And now I am becoming settled inside of myself. And if I'm noticing the good things of myself, I can actually bring those good things to wherever I am. Those things are part of who I am, not what I do. What I do is a reflection of who I am, but who I am is not what I do. So let me say that again. What I do is a reflection of who I am. But who I am is not defined by what I do. We get lost in that a lot of times. And when we define ourselves by what we do and not who we are, all of a sudden that shame pops back up. 100% that shame narrative is attached to performance. We talked about that last podcast. If it's attached to your performance, you will always fail at something. I struggle with this all the time. And I have to remind myself, no, I am enough. I am good enough. It doesn't matter what's happening out here. That's just me being me externally and showing up in 1,000 different ways in my week. But I will say that who I am is not dependent on what I do and how what I do is received by others. That doesn't matter because it's who I am. At the core, I love people. At the core, I'm also a teacher. And at the core, I love coaching, mentoring, and being a therapist and encouraging people to move towards a better life. That's what absolutely thrills me. And when I say thrill, I really mean it. It's like this energy inside. And when I'm able to do that, it's who I am. It's not what I do, but what I do reflects who I am. So when you look at that list of external and internal, I want you to notice the relationship between the internal things that you are proud of and how it impacts the external choices and decisions and the ways that you are interacting in your world. And then I want you to look at how the external ways that you interact with your world impacts your internal. And I want you to start seeing this synergy that goes between the internal and the external, because that's going to be empowering. It's going to give you strength, and we're going to create resilience for you as you continue to face things that are more difficult, face things that are really going to stump you, face things that you're going to think, I can't get through this, face things that you're going to ask for help, because we are living in a world that is difficult. But as we empower, strengthen, and create more resilience for ourselves, we actually become more calm in the midst of the storm. This is good. This is good. To have calm and clarity in the midst of the storm tells me I am good enough. I can figure this out. I can advocate for myself with whomever. I can make moves outside of a really horrible situation. And ultimately, empowerment, strength, and resilience, the ultimate byproduct of those and the ultimate goal is for you to trust you. If we create internal trust within ourselves, all things are possible. And I cannot wait for you to grab a hold of these things about you that are part of who you are, and to celebrate them and to notice them and to care for them and to really just live them out loud. So revisit this list that you've written about the things that you're proud of yourself for. If you didn't do it during the podcast, do it the next time you have some quiet time. That could be waiting in the carpool line for your kids. That could be waiting at the DMV, waiting for an appointment. It can be anything. Find quiet time. Don't make it a big deal. Spend 2 to 3 minutes. Add to the list as the weeks go, because there are new situations that happen in our lives that we say, oh my gosh, and I did this in this situation, which internally created space for me to be me. Thank you so much for being here. Please comment below. I am interested in the things that you are proud of yourself for. List a couple things in the comments, because when we share what we see in ourselves, what happens is that another person may read that comment and say like, oh my gosh, that wasn't on my list, but now it's on my list because I do the same thing. Again, being proud of yourself creates confidence. It is not arrogance. Confidence is that quiet knowledge that I know who I am. And no matter what happens on the outside, who I am doesn't change. This is a phenomenal topic for you to dive into. If you need great resources, look on the internet, check out some books. Brene Brown is an author who writes a lot on shame. She is fantastic at explaining it beautifully. And I would love to encourage you to check out her materials, her books, her podcasts, her TED Talks. And I hope that you come back. Thank you so much for being here. Subscribe and follow for more. And we're in this together, because together, the messier will become better. We promise.